Hey Andy, hope all is well. So yeah, there is a way to do that. Let me try to take you through it here. So first thing, go into settings, activate the developer mode. Then I'm gonna do it through the back end because it's easier for me. But if I go to invoice model, right, and this is the same as dragging and dropping a field with Studio. I'm just creating it through here, right? I'm creating a field named paid ID. Field label is going to equal paid. The type is a boolean, write a little checkbox. Very simple. I'll just leave that as is. Now when I go to the invoice, here, create one, and if I go to Studio, I'd be able to drag and drop a field here titled X paid ID onto the invoice if I want to. And you can do it if you want to. You don't have to. You can choose to use the status tool up here. It doesn't matter. But what we're going to do next is I'm going to leave it off for now just to keep the interface cleaner because I'm assuming that might be what you want to do. But we can add it later and I can show you the flow again. But most importantly is create an automation. Update, we'll just call this update X. Right, the model it applies to is the invoice. The action we're going to do is we want to update the record. The trigger condition is based on creation and update. Before we update it, it's going to assume all these records. If you leave it blank, it's going to assume all possible invoices. And we're going to apply this function on invoices which have a status equal to paid. And what are we going to do when we have a status equal paid? We're going to write in a field. We're going to write in the paid field and we're going to make that value a true value. And save it, and then you're all set. Now, what's happening is that just because you don't see the paid field anywhere here on the interface, it's still stored in the table in the backend, which is the account.invoice table. It's still stored there, and when I mark this invoice as paid, it's going to automatically check that Boolean box, although you don't see it, in the background. Now, that's step one. Step two is we need to communicate this information somehow over to the delivery order. Well, you can't communicate it directly to the delivery order. It actually has to pass through the sale order, and then from the sale order, you communicate it to the delivery order because that's the way the link has been designed, the logic. So, now next step is create that paid field, a little place in the sale order for us to store that information. So, right, because when you pass that information from the invoice record into the sale record, it has to in some ways speak the same language. And what I mean by that is it has to be the same field type, and you have to tell the sale order what information you want to connect to another record, and then you want to tell it which information do you want to pull off of that connection. And I'm going to show you how to do that here. Go to the sale order. Here, edit, we're going to create a new field. We'll call this X paid to, and the field label will be paid. The type is again a Boolean, and now what we're going to do is we're going to have invoice IDS, which is the invoice IDs associated with the sale order, dot, and then we're going to call from that invoice the paid ID field. And here we're going to do stored and read only. Yes, stored read only. And save it. So now that paid field is part of this table. And it's going to communicate information. It's going to take the information from the invoice IDS, the invoice, specifically the X underscore paid ID. So it's going to assume that value, right? If you look here, it's a related field. It's just and I have it marked as read only, meaning you can't touch it because it's a stored value that it's pulling from this particular field on this particular record. Now, we can choose to, if we want to, on the actual sale order, go in and drag and drop that field if we want to, the paid field, which is now here, or we don't have to. Again, keep the interface clean. So the next step now would be to go to the transfer, actually specifically an delivery order, not there, but here. And now we're going to do a related field. Why are we doing a related field? Because at this point, we're going to be, again, you can do it manually through the back end if you want to, by typing in the related field, but I'm going to do it through the Studio tool because it's just easier. I'm going to go back through the sale order, and what information do I want to pull off the sale order? I want to pull the paid field. And now that record will be here. I can say paid. Okay, so that's generally how you structure the information here. The next step would be to test it. So we go create an order for John Doe. Create a product we're going to sell called product X. Sell it for $9.99. Save it. Confirm the sale. Perfect. Now, look at our delivery order. It's not yet paid. Go to our invoice. Create the invoice. Validate it. Okay, we're open. Let's go look at our delivery. Not yet paid. Now let's go back to the invoice and register the payment. Marked as paid. Let's go to the sale order, check the delivery. Paid. So just like that, that information can be communicated. Now, I did structure it that way. You may want to run it by, if you're still working with your consultant, you may want to run it by them to make sure that this is in fact a sustainable way for you to function. But this is actually nice right here. You can see here you can have it populate, right? Then we can create a quick group by and have it group by paid, so you can see, well, that'll equal true. But probably nicer to just create a filter that says paid is true, and then it'll group all that, and then I can go to here, paid. Awesome. So if I create another one quickly, just for John Doe, right, then I'll confirm it. I'll still have my delivery order, because if I go in here, in this instance they're both ready because I have it both. That product X is is set to deliver according to, actually no, it's probably just it'll just be like that. But what you'll do is you'll be able to just see your paid and focus on those orders first. And then if you X out paid, it'll show you everything. So that is a simple enough way, I think, for you to handle that. And again, let's test it once more. We have that order. Number 2, create the invoice. Validate it. Register the payment. And keep in mind, right, this is, as nice as this is, it's not so much a what I would call a best practice, because in some instances you may take down payments and you may register. Let's see what happens if we register partial payment here. It's probably still going to $9.99. I don't know what's going to happen, honestly, but let's see. Because what's going to end up happening is register the payment. For 500 and keep it open. That's the trick. Partial payment, keep it open, hasn't been fully paid yet. Go to inventory, not yet paid yet. Awesome. So that actually isn't a limitation. I thought it would be. And then if I go to the invoice again, of course, if I open this one up, register the payment, the rest of it marks it as paid officially. Inventory, deliveries, boom, right? When I show everything, there we go. Okay, so I hope this helps. Let me know if you have questions. Happy to help you out with this stuff. I mean, Odoo's a really awesome product, man. I love this stuff, so happy to dig in with you.